The Taliban claim to be making advances in the Panjshir Valley, the only part of Afghanistan they don't control. The battle has left hundreds dead. Meanwhile, the European Union and Britain have said they won't recognise the Taliban. President Biden has arrived in the southern American state of Louisiana, where 800,000 people remain without electricity because of Hurricane Ida's aftermath. He will survey the damage and highlight the links between extreme weather events and climate change. There's been a sharp slowdown in job creation in the US, coinciding with the spread of the Delta variant that's hit the hospitality and leisure sectors. But President Biden insists the economy remains durable and strong. A stabbing at a shopping mall in New Zealand has been described as a terror attack by Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. 6 people were stabbed in the incident in Auckland.
Japanese Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga says he will not seek re-election in a vote planned for September 29th. Russian President Vladimir Putin says normalizing ties with Japan is in the interest of both countries. The two sides never signed a peace treaty ending World War II. American flight safety officials ground Virgin Galactic while they investigate a problem with the company's first passenger spaceflight. And efforts continue in the U.S. to repair damage from Hurricane Ida and flooding that killed at least 46 people in 5 states.
Jen Ashton here with some answers to the medical questions you have. All right, Dr. Jen, the first one, the WHO said they are... Oh, the okay. Yeah. Oh, I'm losing my mind. It's Friday. The WHO, that would be the World Health Organization, said they are now monitoring a Mu variant. Are these variants going to continually get more aggressive? In my defense,
that
in
is
the prompter,
true.
It just said who.
I saw that.
I saw that.
It's not as easy as one might think. But you are correct. This is, first of all, there's a couple things with this story. Number one, the World Health Organization is identifying the Mu variant as a variant of interest. That means it's on their radar, not yet a variant of concern, although we can be concerned that there will always be new variants. Some of them eventually may, yes, evade the capacity of our immune system or vaccines to block them. That's what viruses do. They mutate for a living. So as long as there are circulating pockets of the world where this virus is replicating, we unfortunately will continue to see more variants.
Yep, and
Absolutely.
You've been saying that from the very beginning. All right, next question. I'm going to be listening to this. I heard that strong massages of the neck can be dangerous. Is this true? And if so, why?
This is true, and there have been reports both here and in other countries where people, men and women, who get either their head put in a sink at a salon or very vigorous massages of their neck will suffer strokes caused by a tear in one of the arteries in the neck called the vertebral artery. So it may feel good for your muscles, but again, this is an area of the body where you should absolutely use caution. So, I mean, this is regardless of your age, there can be damage done there.
All right, that is certainly a cautionary tale. All right, Dr. Jen, thank you so much. And you can submit your questions to Dr. Jen on her Instagram at Dr. J. Ashton.
Japan's prime minister sent a shockwave across the nation Friday, announcing that he will not lead his party into the next election. Suga Yoshihide dropped out of the Liberal Democratic Party's leadership race. Suga says he needs to concentrate on curbing the spread of the coronavirus rather than putting a lot of energy into campaigning. But low approval ratings for Suga's cabinet had already made some of his fellow LDP lawmakers worried about the party's prospects for this year's general election. And only one of 7 LDP factions pledged its united support for Suga's leadership bid before his withdrawal. Several familiar faces may compete to take Suga's place, including former Foreign Minister Kishida Fumio. 2 former Internal Affairs Ministers, Takaichi Sanae and Noda Seiko, say they want to enter the race. 2 others are still considering whether to run. Kono Taro, the minister in charge of Japan's coronavirus vaccination program, and Ishiba Shigeru, a former defense minister. Official campaigning for the LDP president starts in 2 weeks with a vote set for September 29th. Now to Afghanistan. While the Taliban are making final arrangements to form a new government, they continue fighting militants in the northeast. The Taliban have most of the country under their control after capturing the capital, Kabul, last month. However, there's resistance in the Panjshir Valley from militants led by a son of the late leader of the anti-Taliban Northern Alliance. The Taliban were unable to take control of the valley when they ruled the country in the 1990s. Local media are reporting that fighting has escalated, leading to fatalities. The Taliban have been negotiating with senior officials from the previous government and ethnic leaders to form a new government. The Taliban are calling for national reconciliation, but ethnic minorities remain skeptical. Attention is now on whether the Taliban will be able to bring various groups together to form an inclusive government. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government reported 2,539 new cases of the coronavirus in the capital on Friday. The daily tally is down by nearly 1,700 from a week ago. It marks the 12th straight day of week-on-week declines. The government's panel of experts met on Friday. The members put forward a set of proposals to advance the nation's vaccine rollout.
My understanding is that with the state of emergency currently in place, the situation does not yet allow for any easing of restrictions. The proposals were drawn up with an eye to the future after the state of emergency has been lifted, with major progress being made in the vaccine rollout.
The panel said restrictions on people's day-to-day lives will change over time in line with progress in vaccinations. It said it may no longer be necessary to maintain a state of emergency once 75% of people in their 20s and 30s have been inoculated, as long as everyone wears masks. But it said the most likely scenario is that the rate for this group will remain around 60%. This could still require a state of emergency, depending on the medical situation. The panel proposed allowing restrictions to be eased on people proven to be at low risk of passing the virus on to others. This would be determined based on their vaccination history and test results. In the Tokyo Paralympics, a number of athletes have added to their medal tallies. One of them is a table tennis giant from Poland. Poland beat Australia 2-0 in the women's team final. The Polish team included Natalia Partyka, making her 6th Paralympic appearance. That comes on top of 4 Olympic showings, most recently here in Tokyo. Her win on Friday was her 6th gold throughout her career. In women's shooting, China's Chang Tsui-ping won gold in the 50-meter rifle. It was her 5th Paralympic gold. India's Avani Lekhara took bronze in the same event. It was her 2nd medal at these games. That made the 19-year-old the first Indian to win 2 Paralympic medals. In swimming, American Jessica Long won in the women's 100-meter butterfly. It was her 16th Paralympic gold. She now has 29 medals overall since her 2004 debut in Athens at the age of 12. In the men's events, Japanese swimmers won gold and silver in the 100-meter butterfly. The event was for athletes with visual impairments. It was the first gold for veteran Kimura Keiichi, who's competing in his 4th Paralympics. It was his 2nd medal at the Games, following a silver in the 100-meter breaststroke. Teammate Tomita Uchu took the silver in the butterfly. It was his 3rd medal in his Paralympic debut on home soil. Brazilian Wendel Bellarmino Pereira captured the bronze. Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he wants to continue peace treaty negotiations with Japan. This includes the issue of 4 Russian-held islands that Japan claims. Putin spoke at an international economic forum in Vladivostok. Last year, Russia amended its constitution to ban ceding any of its territory. But Putin said Russia has not rejected the process that could lead to signing a peace treaty.
The amendment will not change our approach in terms of concluding a peace treaty with Japan. We believe the absence of the peace deal is nonsense.
The territorial issue has prevented the two countries from formally concluding the treaty after World War II. Russia controls the islands, Japan claims them. The Japanese government maintains that the islands are an inherent part of Japan's territory. Japan says the islands were illegally occupied after the war. At the forum, Putin also said foreign companies doing business on the islands will be exempt from key taxes for 10 years. He added that the area would become a tariff-free zone. Japan and Russia have been continuing talks about joint economic activities on the islands. Some observers say Putin's business plan might conflict with Japan's stance. It's time now for a check on world weather. People in the U.S. Northeast are dealing with the aftermath of Wednesday's historic floods caused by the remnants of Hurricane Ida. Our meteorologist Sayaka Mori has the details.
Traffic came to a standstill in New York City after recording heavy rainfall on Wednesday. In Newark, we saw 214 millimeters of rain in just one day. That was the rainiest day in recorded history for the city. And in New Jersey, it was completely flooded. For example, this ballpark this picture was taken before the rain, and then after the rain, it was filled with muddy water. This is the residential area, and there are several train tracks. But after the rain, most of the area was inundated. Not just heavy rainfall, there were 8 tornadoes touched down in the northeastern U.S. Take a look at this dramatic video. Several people captured the twisters on camera in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Homes, trees, and buildings were leveled as the tornadoes moved through. The ground was already soaked from heavy rainfall due to previous storm systems, and Hurricane Ida, led to massive flooding, causing multiple deaths as a low-pressure system. Meanwhile, in Japan, we have a rainy season front affecting much of the country, much of the southern half of the country, and temperatures have been in the 20s every day since the beginning of September in Tokyo, but finally next week we'll see quite high temperatures. That's it for me. Stay safe.